picks keep coming for Arizona football and Jedd Fisch. Arizona's now up to 17, but how far can all of this go? All of that and more on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. This show is brought to you by FanDuel, FanDuel.com/LockedOn. All right, my friends, we have a lot to get to this show. We are going to talk Arizona football, how Arizona got to this point, where we are in the grand scheme of everything. But first and foremost, we need to talk about Arizona. They are in, and again, they're not going to win the national title. We all get that. But Arizona right now is squarely in the thick of things as far as getting a nice little bowl game. And on top of that, a possibility of playing in the Pac-12 title game. And it's not as weird and it's not as odd as some might think, where we got to make this happen. We got to make this happen. We got to make this happen and all that. There is none of that. There is a real likelihood, I don't know if likelihood's the right word, but there is a real possibility of all of this occurring. But first, we need to celebrate Arizona football being 17th in the country, my friends. This is a huge moment. The football program, I would argue, is on the strongest footing it has been since the mid to late 90s. Now, some people might say, well, Mike, what about Rich Rodriguez? And you know what? I can't really sit here and argue with you that Rich Rodriguez isn't one of those dudes because, again, that was a really good team. But 2014 never really felt sustainable to me. And maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know, whatever the case may be. But it never felt really that way to me. A big part of it for me was that Rich Rod was an awesome X's and O's coach. We all know that. Not only is he an awesome X's and O's coach, he's also somebody who is able to who's able to get players in the open field, be able to create mismatches. You know the drill. I mean, we've all watched Rich Rod. He can do a lot of really good things, but he didn't really recruit. And not only did he not recruit, it always felt like a smoke and mirrors type thing. And by smoke and mirrors, I mean that Arizona was never going to really be the team that was going to get into the if you beat a team, let's use Oregon, for example. Arizona beat Oregon earlier in the season in 2014. And then guess what? They ended up losing to Oregon. And not only did they end up losing to Oregon, they ended up getting smacked. And a lot of it, too, is that I felt that a lot of this was just, again, smoke and mirrors is probably a little bit too strong of a term, but it just didn't ever really feel sustainable. And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem because, again, you had not Kadeem Carey, but you did have Kadeem Carey, but he was earlier. But it was an undersized team, a talented team, but that it didn't overwhelm you. This team has overwhelming potential and overwhelming play to it, my friends, and we've all seen it. There's nothing fluky about what we're watching. Anu Solomon. Gosh, I'm a mess right now. Noah Fifita is not going anywhere. Not only is Noah Fifita not going anywhere, he is also the dude who is more than capable of taking a team on his back. I mean, let's just say it what it is. I mean, he has been able to do this, and it's been quite impressive in the process watching him do exactly that. Spread people out, say, all right, we're about to go 5 wide here, whatever the case may be. Or, you know what? I don't even need to go 5 wide. I can dink and dunk you down the field. He's been able to do just that. And it's been incredibly impressive to watch. Now, Obviously, at the running back spot, it's a loaded position as well. And again, another position that is quite impressive when you watch it because, again, Jonah Coleman, really, really good. Michael Wiley, DJ Williams. There is a lot to like about this entire group of players, and it's not going anywhere. That's the other thing. There's all kinds of talent across the board. You look on the offensive, or look at the wide receivers. It's obviously a loaded unit. We've talked about this a ton. The offensive line, again, and there's youngsters. A lot of these guys are coming back. As far as the running backs go. Jonah Coleman coming back, my friends. Speedy Luke, Fam, coming back. Look at the wide receivers. You obviously lose Jacob Cowing. TMac is back. Malachi Riley is back. AJ Jones is back. At tight end, obviously Tanner McLaughlin is a big loss. We don't like losing Tanner McLaughlin. He is good. But you still have a fairly nice nucleus behind him in Kean Burnett, who I think is going to emerge next year. I think Kean Burnett is going to be an absolute superstar. Not only do I think Kean Burnett's going to be an absolute superstar, I also think behind him that Tyler Powell could step up. There's a lot to like. And then on the offensive line, you lose Jordan Morgan. That is obviously a big loss. Nobody likes to see that one occur. But not only does to see you want to see players that are able to step in and take advantage of certain spots. Jonah Savaiinaea, we all know what he is. That's what a first round pick looks like. He's back. Wendell Moy back. Raymond Polito back. Josh Baker back. All these dudes are back, and you got youngsters coming in as well. You got Elijah Payne, Tylen Gonzalez, a whole group of people there, my friends, and not only a whole group of people, but a group of people that I think are going to be able to be somewhat next level. And I think that's what's also enticing about this entire endeavor here, if you're a University of Arizona Wildcat fan, is that you got depth across the board. Heck, we didn't even mention quarterback. Obviously, you got Noah Fifita coming back, but then you've got Braden Dorman, Damon Williams, both four-star quarterbacks waiting in the wings, and then defensively as well. Again, this isn't really a fluke, and I think that's why this is all so impressive when you look at it big picture. Then there is no fluke involved. Also, you know what else? We're going to talk about the defense then, and we're also going to talk about a very realistic path to the Pac-12 title game, but something also that we all need to be aware of. eBay Motors, my friends, eBay Motors. All right, here's the deal. Cut out the middleman, my friend, ebaymotors.com. The right parts, the right fit, the right prices. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. You will thank me later, my friends. Not only will you thank me later, you will also be able to cut out the middleman, save some money, and let's be honest here. Maybe the coolest thing about this entire eBay Motors situation is you can get it and you can take it to who you want, who you trust. No more getting gouged. People talk about getting gouged at the pumps. You're now getting gouged. You're not going to be getting gouged when you buy this because you're going through eBay Motors, my friends. Check it out. All right, we're going to take a quick – well, check it out. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now we got even more to get to here. Okay, now, big part of this is now the path to the Pac-12 title game, my friends. But first, we need to talk about how, unlike Rich Rod, this feels self-sustaining. Defensive line, you're going to lose Taylor Upshaw. We all know that. But guess what? You're bringing back? You're bringing back Deuce Davis, beast. You're bringing back, Jacob Kongaika, Tai Uiagalelei, hopefully Big Bill Norton, Isaiah Ward. I can keep going on and on. You've got a loaded defensive front there, and these players are all big. That's the other part about it. Then at the linebacker spot, Jacob Manu, beast. And then next to him, it'll be interesting to see. Can Leviticus Tua make that next move? I think with the Justin Flo, we know at this point that the Justin Flo can be impactful. But as somebody said on Shear's message board, the theory of Justin Flo is a little bit. How do I put this? The theory of Justin Flo is probably better than the actuality of Justin Flo. That is just kind of where it's at. But that's good. Either way, the linebacker spot will be solid. Then at the DBs could be absolutely loaded next year. Not only could they be loaded, I think you're kind of looking at the point where you're saying to yourself, man, could this be one of the better defensive backs units in the entire conference? You got Ephesians Priceoff. You got Tacario Davis. Both those dudes going to be starters, going to be long-term starters. And I think they can both play in the NFL. Then you got Genesis Smith. Obviously, hasn't played as much as maybe I thought he would, but either way, he's going to be a monster. Then on top of that, you also have on top of that, you also have a Dalton Johnson back. You have an Isaiah Taylor who's back. DJ Warnell is getting into the action as well, my friends. DJ Warnell. But a lot of dudes that are going to be back that I think are going to be real problems there in the secondary. And heck, Gunnar Maldonado. My bad, Gunnar. The My Bad Gunnar movement needs to continue to take off. My bad, my friend. I was dumb on that one. But it's a loaded team there. And again, it's not going anywhere. And that's a big tip of the cap to Jedd Fisch and what he's been able to do. Now, let's talk a little bit about the path to the Big 12 title game, my friends. The Big 12 title, or Pac-12, Big 12, getting ahead of myself. Pac-12 title game. Okay. It's actually not as complicated as you might think. I think a lot of times people are like, well, I need this to happen, this to happen, this to happen, and like 38 other things to happen. That is not actually what we need to, that's actually not what we have to worry about here. It's actually a much different situation entirely. Oh, and the first thing is that right now you've got you need Arizona to win out. That goes without saying. Got to beat Utah this week. We're going to get to Utah there in a second, and you got to be able to beat ASU. And honestly, at this stage in the game, if you can't win out, then you don't really deserve to be there. I'm very much of that frame, and I have no problem saying that. I think that's a more than fair. I think that's more than fair. You got to be able to beat Utah, and Utah is definitely beatable. You also got to be able to beat ASU. ASU stinks. I know they just beat UCLA. I don't care. Arizona's got to be able to beat both of those schools. Then here's what you also need to have happen. Oregon's pretty much locked into the Pac-12, or most likely is going to be locked into, or no, not Oregon. Washington is pretty much locked into the Pac-12 championship game. Pardon the pun, locked in. So here's what we need to have happen. We need to have Oregon State beat our good friends against Oregon. If that can happen, then I don't know exactly how it is, but somehow we get that tie there. Then on top of that, my friends, you also need to have Oregon. Excuse me. You'd also need to have Oregon State then lose one more time as well. That happens, then you're in good. Then Arizona is in good shape. And again, it's not that outlandish. It's not that outlandish. I'm not sitting here telling you I need 38 different things to happen. And if those 38 things don't happen, then Arizona's cooked. Don't need any of that. We just need those two things to happen in Arizona to take care of business. But even if it doesn't happen, we gotta sit here and acknowledge that this has been a wildly successful season for Arizona football. The fact that we are sitting here with 2 weeks left in the regular season, talking about how Arizona can make certain things happen to be able to possibly get into the Pac-12 title game, I think is beyond impressive. And not only is it beyond impressive, I think that, again, that is a huge tip of the cap to Jedd Fisch. Honestly, I think that he should be Pac-12 Coach of the Year, but I also think that he should be the guy who is I think he's also the guy who should be able to be the well, I'm just going to say it right here. I think he can be National Coach of the Year. I think he's squarely in that discussion. And if he's not, he should be. Because the job that he has done, again, has been absolutely next level. We haven't really seen anything like what he's been able to do as far as bringing in the kind of talent he has in a short amount of time, and not only bringing in talent in a short amount of time, but being able to get that talent on the field and to develop it. Some coaching staffs can bring in talent, but they can't develop it. Other coaching staffs can develop talent, but they can't bring it in. Look at, we've seen a little bit of both here. Rich Rod could develop talent, couldn't bring it in. We've seen other coaches nationally that can bring in the talent, can't develop it. That's just what's different about it. And honestly, I don't see any of that really changing. Okay, now. What does this mean, though, as far as Arizona goes, and what are their chances against Utah? What needs to happen? But first, again, we need to continue to reiterate what a massive deal it is for Arizona football to be in, to even be in this position as we are. Again, this is not a spot where that I think anybody expected to be, and not only is it not a spot that I think anybody expected to be. It is a, you just got to kind of pinch yourself at some points, for lack of a better term, just saying that, man, Arizona is where we're at right now. And not only is Arizona at this point, it doesn't feel, again, like it's fluky. And again, I just want to keep bringing that part up because I think that is a huge part of it. It feels sustainable, my friends. Okay, now, let's talk about the keys to beating Utah, and there are some huge keys right there. But first, FanDuel. All right, FanDuel.com/locked on. Check it out. FanDuel Sportsbook. This is the best place to be. Not only is it the best place to be, you want to be able to hop in here. And again, what's more enjoyable right now than watching football, than watching basketball, and more so than anything, having a little bit of skin in the game, my friends, having a little bit of skin. That's what's exciting about it. Check it out, FanDuel.com/locked on. Okay. And again, you'll thank me later because there's nothing more enjoyable than betting on a sport that you're obviously already interested in, and you've got a vested interest in it. So again, check it out, FanDuel.com/locked on. All right. Thanks for keeping it locked on, Wildcats. I'm your host, Mike Luke. And again, as always, thanks for making this your first listen of the day, my friends. Your first listen of the day, not your last, hopefully. Okay, Utah, to sum this up, Utah is kind of the brand that I think Arizona fans should hope and aspire for their Arizona football program to be. Utah never brings in the highest rated recruiting classes. But what Kyle Whittingham does is Kyle Whittingham is able to bring in players that fit into what he's looking to do. And by fitting in what he's looking to do, that's pretty self-explanatory. He wants players that he can develop, that can get bigger, that can get stronger, and that can get faster. And if he's going to miss, he's likely going to miss on big players. And not only is he likely to miss on big players, he's likely to miss on players that, well, let's be honest here, can essentially take advantage of all of their opportunities, and not only all of their opportunities, but they can also get in there, and they can also they're fast, they're strong, and they buy into the system. High character kids, as the kids out there might say. But that's kind of been the model. Jedd Fisch has talked about how he wanted to take a lot of Dick Tomey's type models and apply it here. Well, Kyle Whittingham was an incredibly consistent Dick Tomey in that he knew how to find talent. He knew how to bring that talent in. And not only did he know how to bring that talent in, you knew that, again, it was sustainable, something that Jedd Fisch is looking for. Now, with Utah, there's no secret here. Again, they've obviously losing Cam Rising before the season even started was obviously a huge loss for them. I'm not breaking any news right there. But and the quarterback play initially was atrocious. The quarterback play now is actually quite good for Utah. A big part of this game for Arizona is going to be able to beat Utah up on the lines. It's weird to say this again because we're used to kind of smoke and mirrors around here, but Arizona's got to be able to beat Utah up around the defensive line or on the defensive and offensive line, or at least hold their own, because I believe that Arizona's got better talent across the board than Utah does, which is another thing, which is very, very weird to say. We're not used to saying that in these parts. But that's what you got to have happen, and you got to have that happen in a big way. A big part of this also, though, is Noah Fifita continuing to improve. Noah Fifita continues to improve. Arizona's a tough out for anybody because the defense at this point is good. And not only is it good, I think that we know that it's going to continue to get better. What they've also shown as well is that the longer these games go on, the more they know that you're going to be able to win some of these games, because again, Arizona has shown that they can win some of these games when they don't bring their best effort, i.e. Colorado, my friends. All right. There is no better time to be an Arizona Wildcat fan. Honestly, football is at an apex. Basketball is at an apex as well. Both are dominant franchises, dominant brands right now. And there's nothing that's more exciting than that and being able to watch that. So I tell you all, enjoy this time. Enjoy this time because Arizona is in a very good spot as we sit here. But on that note, as always, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with you talking a little bit of Arizona basketball, getting you ready as always. But thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats.